Alright, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called The Commitments, 1991. Giving this 1 out of 5 stars. I hated this flick. I finally figured out when the movie was made. Yeah, Netflix the year wrong. They put 2001. It's actually 1991. I could tell by looking at the rolling credits at the end. And the reason why I got it was because it was in the Psychotronic video guide. And I put it in my save queue and it popped up all of a sudden. So that was how it got in the middle of my M. Emmett Walsh section of my queue. I answered my own questions, I hope. This one gets a very high 7.6 rating on IMDb and has 30,976 votes, so it is a popular movie. It's basically about this band from Dublin, Ireland, really poor working class proletariat. They even use that word in this movie. And it's part of what irritated me. So these lily white Irish Dubliners think they're black. They even tell people that they're black in this movie. And they sing soul music because it's the music of the proletariat, supposedly. They watch James Brown in the Tammy Show to get inspiration. And then they start fighting with each other. They don't like each other, and that's pretty much the movie right there. Lots of potty mouth, F-bombs. And I guess that's the way it gets an R rating, because there's no nudity. There's a lot of sexual talk. Should have gotten a PG-13, I guess. I don't know why movies get R ratings for saying the F-bomb. Makes no sense to me, but anyways, it's the this band manager wants to form a soul band because it's popular in Dublin, Ireland, for some reason. But they want to become, when he's forming the band, they want to become popular like Sinead O'Connor or U2, those kind of bands. So they play at a Catholic event that it's anti-heroin event. That's the only way I can describe it. They're not making any money, and eventually they start playing in bars, making money, and getting all kinds of applause, accolades, people asking for autographs and stuff, while they're beating each other over the head with garbage cans and stuff. You know, those rowdy Dubliners, the proletariat class, the working blokes. And I didn't like any of the characters. I couldn't relate to any of them really. I'm not from Dublin, Ireland. I'm not into soul music. I did like Smokey Robinson in the Tammy Show, though. I thought his voice was incredible. I liked him even better than James Brown. James Brown gets all the credit for that Tammy Show in 1964, which was filmed in Santa Monica, California. And I don't know why. I'm not a big fan of James Brown. He's a big time showman, prancing around the stage and doing all kinds of weird mannerisms. But anyways, that was the only real thing that I could relate to, the James Brown, them watching the James Brown on the Tammy Show. The rest of the movie was horrible, and it's almost 2 hours long. It's way too long. It's mostly singing. I'm not a big fan of this kind of music. Like I said, the Tammy Show was pretty decent, but the guy's father is into Elvis. What else? They like to drink and get into fights. Anyways, they sing Try a Little Tenderness, Mustang Sally. It's an industrial setting in North Dublin, and I just liked the soundtrack. I didn't think the Commitments were nearly as good as the Smokey Robinson. They had to drop the Irish accent to do their soul bits, and looked like it may have been lip sync. Who knows? But anyways, not my cup of tea. It's probably better suited for Irish people or people who are in Motown, I guess, or both. But anyways, this coronavirus government fee debacle is getting to be ridiculous. Now the county governments here and the mayor of San Francisco are conspiring to, they've just issued a mandatory face mask decree, punishable by fines and misdemeanors and all this other crap. And it only applies in certain situations. For instance, I don't know if I'll get busted for not wearing a mask when I pick up my son at his mother's house. She'll probably call the cops and have them for me, knowing her. But if you got to wait in line at the grocery store, you got to wear a mask. Anytime you're going into any type of essential business, essential workplace, you have to wear a mask. And, even if you're outside, that's what I got from reading the San Mateo County ordinance. I'm not sure if the San Francisco one is the same, but I'm sure they're very similar. And I don't have a mask. They're not enforcing it until Wednesday, but when I checked at my employer, my part-time employer, the grocery delivery place, they didn't seem to have any masks there. So I'll check again tomorrow in the hopes that they have it, but But it seems like I'm not required to wear a mask unless I'm waiting in line at the store. I'm going inside the store, the grocery store, or I'm delivering groceries to somebody's house. Those are the only three instances I can think of where I could possibly get busted. Unless, again, if the mother is clever enough to understand the decree, the ordinance, whatever you want to call it, to the point where she can bust me for picking my son without a mask, which is the only thing I'm really worried about. But still, I'm irritated that they flattened, they claimed that they were doing social distancing to flatten the curve, but that wasn't good enough. Now they want to impose this mask thing, which has absolutely no effect on the spread of the coronavirus. It's spread by air droplets. So if you're wearing a mask, it does absolutely nothing to prevent the air droplets from getting into your nose. And so as usually, the government always makes things worse for people, not better. And it just keeps getting worse by the day, as I've been saying, complaining in my previous videos. There have actually been some protests in Southern California, but nothing up here in the communist bastion of San Francisco Bay Area. So pretty discouraging. I'm almost tempted to order groceries online, even if I have to pay these exorbitant living wage tax or whatever delivery fee they charge. I'm getting fed up with this whole thing, but at the same time, Safeway has the kind of salads that I like. I just hope they don't kick me out tomorrow if I don't have a mask with me. So very draconian and authoritarian government here in San Francisco Bay Area. They just don't know when to stop, even when they're ahead of the game, supposedly, with their flatten the curve nonsense, which was a scam, just like the whole coronavirus scam that they peddle on people, thinking that it's like the Black Plague or something, and it's going to overwhelm all these hospitals if people don't wear masks, which has absolutely no effect on the spread of the coronavirus. If you don't believe me, you can ask the doctor on YouTube. The bariatric surgeon, my best friend, sent me a video of his, and he thought he was great. He went through residency, which is what every doctor has to do. And he got his medical degree. Again, his medical license is something that's required of every doctor, so it's not something special. But nevertheless, he still did admit that the masks are crap. They don't do anything. So I don't even. It's just amazing what government can get away with these days. It's just boggles the mind. I never imagined that something like this would ever occur. I knew government was pretty bad around here, but I had no clue that it was. I never dreamed that it would get to be this bad. So enough about my soapbox. I just wanted to complain about that for about 7 minutes or 8 minutes. get my video up over 15 minutes. There's not much else to say about the commitments. It's it's based on a novel by some guy, Roddy Doyle. I don't know if that's Irish name. It sounds Irish, Roddy, like Rowdy Roddy Piper. But actually, Roddy Piper was Canadian. He was pretending to be Scottish with his kilt. So, so I don't know, Roddy McDowell. Who knows? But yeah, there are three girls in there. They like the older guy. One of the gals is kind of interesting. She has kind of short hair, but she's always around babies for some reason. I think her parents are constantly having babies, like welfare kind of deal. But yeah, Northern Ireland, Northern Dublin looks pretty dilapidated. I mean, it looks like it's got hit by a bomb or something. All this rubble and kids playing ball in this low-income housing. I don't know what's appealing to that, unless you kind of grew up in that situation. How can I possibly relate to any of that? It's like watching the other extreme, Citizen Kane, some newspaper magnate pining for his stupid sled. Anyways, the popularity of this is going down. It was popular at one point, but I think it's going down. People are hasn't aged well, I guess. Still looks like 1980s kind of hairstyles and clothing and stuff. The older guy in the band can't make up his mind if he's a Bible thumper dude or a womanizer. He goes around on his moped and he thinks he knows everybody and every soul musician in the United States. He thinks he knows all of them, and he played for all of them, supposedly. And there are a few guys in the band who are kind of like to pick fights and stuff for no apparent reason other than just to each other up. And I don't know. I just couldn't get into this movie. I'm not Irish. I don't drink. I don't like Motown. There's even a fart joke in this one. If I want to see a movie with a fart joke, I'd watch Thunderpants, which was much more entertaining and somewhat politically incorrect, I guess. And yeah, Thunderpants. That was a great movie. But instead, they're in this Chippy van, or Mr. Chippy. It's some kind of food truck from the early 90s. And they're riding in the van, the band is, and the fat guy, the obnoxious one, he farts in the van, so they open up all the windows, and that's supposed to be funny. I don't think so. I didn't laugh at any of this. Speaking of which, I've got The Jerk, which is a comedy with Steve Martin. It's got some ukulele stuff on the bonus features. This one has a lot of like sneak pre. This disc, The Commitments, has a lot of. I don't even remember what's on. I don't even think it has any bonus features. The Commitments. I'm thinking of The Jerk, where it has tons of sneak previews and games that you can play on your DVD player. So, yeah, wish me luck. I'm going to watch The Jerk tomorrow. Hopefully I can get through all this mask fiasco. Probably just wear it on the safe side when I pick up my son, just because I don't want any shenanigans from that evil ex-wife of mine. She's probably late on her child support because she got a bonus during tax season. She's an accountant. She's supposed to pay me some kind of child support for that. So I want to bug her about that on Sunday. Anyways, it's got $25 worth of tips, cash tips today, which is not bad, but I'm hoping for a lot more tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. And that's the end of my review. Can't recommend it, can't say check it out, but I can say avoid it. And I don't know any of the actors or the producers, directors, writers, cinematographers in this one. Oh, that reminds me, Laszlo Kovacs was the cinematographer for Free Willy 2, The Adventure Home. I forgot to put his name in there in the description box, my last video. So 2 real stinkers in a row, and very disappointing. The situation with the mandatory mask fiasco. So that's the end of my review. Laters.